You're live.
All right, we're gonna go over the 8-point plank, guys. So this is a muscle that an exercise we give to a lot of people. It's a foundation training exercise, but we're gonna talk about the anatomy a little bit. So Alyssa's gonna have her elbows about eye level. It's too hard then, you can lower the elbows down a little bit. But what she's gonna do is start the lifting from her belly button, keeping her knees down. So the 8 points are the hands, elbows stay down, feet and the knees, equals 8. So she's driving up, pushing up against me. And the trick here is to breathe. Big deep breath in here, big deep breath in here. It's shaking really hard. You're not holding this for a long time. You're trying to about 30 seconds. Okay, go ahead and relax. A little too hard that way, and sometimes you can't even lift off because it's so hard, and then you can back the elbows off a little bit. But sometimes it's more about the attempt of lifting the spine as a single unit than actually, achieving it. So try again, lift here, see how the hips come up, drive the head up. So we're not arching the neck back, we don't want to be too much there. It's about keeping that neck lengthened, good cervical curvature, flattening, almost like you're rounding, like a push-up plus, pushing up against there. And that's going to open up serratus muscles. So we'll talk about the serratus anterior and posterior. You can relax. Let's bring you up here. So if I do arts and crafts, it's important. So these are two big breathing muscles. They act as like a Chinese finger trap to expand the rib cage. So we have serratus posterior superior and serratus posterior inferior attaching to the spine. And when you're doing that exercise, you're actually opening up the rib cage with the breaths. So these are accessory breathing muscles, but they're ones that we don't actually use a lot. So they really help the diaphragm work. The other one is serratus anterior, which we don't have on here. Attaching to the ribs, runs to the shoulder blade. So a lot of us deactivate this one. We get winging of the scapula, but the scapulas turn out like that because that muscle's weak. Then we can't get those big breaths in from the stomach. We end up breathing from our shoulders, and that creates knots and tightness and compression of the spine. So when we tighten like we did with the 8-point plank, we're lifting, we're expanding that rib cage. We're actually pulling the shoulder blades wide, which helps us fill the lungs. It seems counterintuitive because your shoulders almost feel like you're coming forward, but the chest is lifting and we're pulling in here, and that allows the diaphragm to work better. So all three of these serratus muscles are working to expand that rib cage, open you up so you can allow that diaphragm to do work to fill you in. And that's the biggest and hardest part of the 8-point plank, is that decompression breathing in that stance. But it's a good exercise, and there's a Tabata that you can do on foundationstraining.com. And it's one of the freebie exercises there. But make sure you're paying attention to the cues that I give and the cues that Dr. Goodman gives to help you expand and do this right, so you're not bending at the spine. The last thing we want to do is arch the spine. We're trying to lengthen, drive everything up. Maybe even see like you're rounding a little bit, but that's good because it's opening everything up. Because so many of us are kind of here all day long, where we feel like we're pulling the shoulders back, they're actually turned in, and we can see our chest is low and not lifted up, versus pulling and actually expanding. You'll feel that restriction in your spine. Just like the chiropractor always has to work this mid-back area, because we're always jamming it down because we don't get our hips underneath us to lift the spine. And that's the biggest problem we see in the office here. So try these exercises out while you're quarantined. Got nothing else to do, no excuses. Can't go to the gym anymore. So check out Foundation Training, do those freebie exercises. Leave a comment with questions. Take care, guys. Happy St. Patty's Day.